One of my favorite parts of Frieren is the so-called third stage exam, where the Great Mage Ciri interviews the first-class hopefuls. One of the best exchanges is when she interviews Imperial Mage Denken. Not to spoil anything for those who haven't read ahead, but Denken is an important character and we will be seeing him again. The meeting in the anime goes something like this.
私は燃えかすには興味はない。そう思っていたのだがな。
Denken walks in, Ciri says she's disappointed because he's old and busted, but he's gotten a pass because he's bold enough to even think about fighting her. And to my memory, that's not quite how it went in chapter 58 of the manga. The pages go something like this. There are no elf feet pics. Denken walks in, and Ciri says she's uninterested because of how decrepit he is. But then there are two panels of Denken which the anime doesn't reflect, which I parse as an awkward silence and...
What the fuck did you just fucking say about me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs.
Then, and only then, Ciri seems to change her mind, and says that he must be up to snuff if he's got the balls to consider attacking her. I think if you only watched the anime, the impression you would get from this scene is that Denken is just another badass dude who doesn't afraid of anything and has a plan to kill everyone he meets. He walked in the room with one of the most powerful beings in the world, but nonetheless sized her up for an ass-whoopin', which amuses her. But in the manga, even with the exact same dialogue, that one little pregnant pause, it reads as more wrath or desperation. Denken isn't afraid, like all the applicants who immediately failed, but it seems to me he gave no thought to fighting Ciri until it looked like she wasn't going to pass him. He needs to become a first-class mage and gain the privilege. His whole life has been culminating towards what comes next. Is this necessarily the only way to read these panels, or the pacing of this scene? No. There's some ambiguity in the words. And a strict adaptation probably wouldn't flow so well, and one gets an impression that the storyboarders had to be sparing to fit everything into this final episode and tie it up in a bow. It doesn't matter that much anyways. This is all very subtle, and the anime gives the viewer lots of other chances to see what Denken is really like. But I think this is a great example of how direction and pacing can, however minutely, change the interpretation of a scene, as opposed to just being set dressing for dialogue. Because manga is a visual medium, and anime is an audio-visual medium, and you need to pay attention to every element.